Hi guys, Oliver here and welcome to my channel. As you can see, I'm back on my local hill surrounded by the wild garlic here, and what I brought with me today is a telephoto lens. This is a 400mm prime lens. Compact, lightweight, it's not stabilized, but it doesn't break the bank, and I very often use it for birds in flight. But today we are here to photograph wildflowers with a telephoto lens. One of the downsides of this lens is it has a minimum focus distance of 3.5 meters. Well, normally when I'm after birds or birds in flight, things like that doesn't really matter. But today we want to get as close to wildflowers as possible, and we want to fill the frame, obviously. So we're using a little trick, and that trick is an extension tube. As you can see, there is nothing in it, no glass element. All it does, it extends the distance from your lens to the sensor. It has two effects. First of all, we are losing the infinity focus, but we don't care. We are working in close distance today. And the second effect is it allows us to come closer to our subject. It reduces the minimum focus distance. So this is what we're going to do today. First of all, we're going to find a subject. I mean, there's a wild garlic around. What we're looking for is maybe a raised flower, raised from the sea of white, and a clean backdrop. No clutter in the background, a nice, clean and smooth backdrop. And this is what we're going to look for now. Alright, for a start, why don't we pick this one here? Or maybe this one? Oh my, you should smell that. We really need to keep that short because I'm getting hungry. They are slightly raised, and the backdrop is not too cluttered. So the next thing I have to do is I got to bring the camera in place. Okay, everything is set up for the first shot on my tripod, and the first shot only to demonstrate you something. I said before that lens has a minimum focus distance of 3.5 meters. That is quite a distance. And the downside of that is, let me show you that on the camera here. Here it goes. This is how we fill the frame. So let's take that shot. Okay. What I'm going to do now is I'm attaching the extension tube that we can get closer to our subject, and therefore we will automatically fill the frame a little more. I'm going to show you the difference. I'm back now. I have the extension tube attached, and thanks to that I managed to get in a fair bit closer to our subject. And the difference is quite obvious when I show you this. Good. Let's talk about the settings. As you can see here, there is slight movement in the flower. It's not really windy, but there's a slight breeze, and that is enough to really get some motion into these flowers. That means we need to shorten our shutter speed, our exposure time. So how I've set it here is at the moment a 50th of a second with an aperture. I want to stop it down a little to really have the flower a little sharp, but I don't want to stop it down too much because it would ruin my bokeh, the background. I still want to have that smooth and creamy. So let's say we are trying f7.1, and that we can achieve the speed we need, we have to increase the ISO. And this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to show you now the back of my camera with the settings. Here we are, I'm in manual mode, 1/50th of a second, f7.1. Come on, I want to demonstrate that. And to achieve that minimum speed I have to crank up the ISO. I will play around a little, reduce the ISO, reduce the speed, but there might be a chance that it will end up in motion in the flower. And yeah, it requires a little bit of experimenting, and this is what we're going to do. Before we're going to do that, because that motif here really asks for a portrait composition, and yeah, let's just fix this first. I know we are filming and it's not going to fill the frame, but it really wants to have that. Our settings and take the shot. So what I'm going to do now, these settings and a few variations of these settings, I'm going to find a few flowers before I'm completely losing the light here, and this is basically what we're doing. We're setting it up, finding our composition. We're having an eye on a raised flower. We do not want to have a cluttered backdrop, but we're getting a nice and smooth and yeah, a smooth bouquet in the background. So we're just wandering around, trying different compositions and playing around with the settings, as I said, because of the movement. And it's not only wild garlic, there are a few bluebells in between. Let me just see what I can find, what I can do, and I'll be back afterwards with a little slideshow of what we did today. So, as you see, it does not always need to be a macro lens. I mean, that was the purpose of today's video, and to demonstrate you, I went for a rather extreme approach. I mean, a 400mm prime. You don't have the flexibility you have with a zoom lens or a shorter lens, and working on a bigger distance has a few special requirements. But the reward is you're getting that creamy bouquet when you're looking to get a clean and smooth background. And yeah, as you've just seen, it doesn't always need to be something green. Brown backdrops will do. The key is that you really get a little bit of distance between your subject and the backdrop. And the rest will be done by the extreme telephoto lens and its very shallow depth of field. Yeah, that's it pretty much. So again, quick summary. Clean backdrop, very important. Look for raised subjects, something slightly above the mass or above the sea of that wild garlic here. In terms of shutter speed, it depends on the wind, on the movement in your subject. When it moves and shitters, you require faster shutter speeds. When we are already shooting wide open, and we cannot open the aperture anymore, then we have to increase the ISO. But with that type of images, and especially when you're shooting in RAW, and noise reduction in Lightroom works rather well, modern camera sensors work pretty well in that regard, so that shouldn't be an issue at all. So, next time you're out for shooting birds and you come across these wildflowers and you want to take a shot, you know how it works. That's it for today. I hope you liked that short format. If so, let me know. If you want to see more, I can produce more in that rather short version if you find it more enjoyable. If you like it, click like, leave me a comment, don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'm really looking forward to seeing you again soon.